A very good evening and welcome to the midweek edition of Primetime News. I'm Selima Shumwefeleni Masipa. Many thanks for joining us. Leading tonight's bulletin, Nampol's Inspector General Joseph Shikongo conducted a media engagement at the Ochomwese police station earlier today, showcasing confiscated items. He was accompanied by the Khomas Region Governor, the Regional Commander and other officers. Primetime News producers Lydia Pitiri and Sheila Perestrello are following this story closely and bring us this lead story.
We very clear from the onset that the mandate of the Namibian police is very clear in terms of Article 118 of our Constitution, that is of preservation of internal security of our republic. Then we are talking about the maintenance of law and order. We are talking about the investigation of offense or an alleged offense. We are talking about the prevention of crime. And then we are talking about the protection of life and property. Then we are also guided by the principle of pillars. And that's what we call the effective policing, building partnerships. And one of the issues for us to work with the media, we are building partnerships. Then that is a norm that's actually carrying the community policing. Then we also talk about organizational excellency. When we do all this, then we become the most relevant organization to our people in our society, and so on and so on.
So we had a number of successes as well, and with these successes, we are talking about successes in terms of where robberies were conducted by the criminals, as it was indicated by the Inspector General. And with these robberies with aggravating circumstances and attempted murder cases, we confiscated exhibits such as cutting torches, gas bottles, Motorola walkie-talkie radios, and assault rifle, and with 18 live rounds of ammunition, where 2 suspects were arrested.
Meanwhile, the Namibian Police Force and Roads Authority signed a memorandum of agreement this morning to enhance training exchanges, capacity building, and information integration. More on this story compiled by Lydia Pitiri.
The coordinated law enforcement operations envisaged in this MOU will enable us to pool our resources together and expertise for more comprehensive and efficient interventions. By working together, we can cover more grounds, address issues more effectively, and ensure that our enforcement efforts are cohesive and unified. Most importantly, our overarching aim of this MOU is to enhance safety and security measures across the board, whether it is through improved traffic management or vigorous enforcement of road regulations or targeted safety campaigns. Our collective efforts will undoubtedly lead to a safer environment for all Namibians.
By aligning our resources and expertise, as the General had mentioned, we aim to create a more seamless and secure framework for road safety and law enforcement operations, benefiting every citizen. In recent years, the challenges we face in managing vehicle registration and ensuring road safety have become increasingly complex. The rise in vehicles on our roads and the evolving nature of crime demands a more coordinated approach. Hence, this partnership is a proactive step towards addressing these challenges heads on.
Now turning our attention to matters on education. Directorate of Education, Arts and Culture in the Oshikoto region is encouraging regional councillors to utilize closed-down school infrastructure for any developmental projects in their constituencies. Sylvia Hashondali brings us more.
The Directorate's Deputy Director, Thomas Kalimbo, told Nampa on Tuesday that 7 schools in the region were closed down and that they would like to avail these schools to mostly regional councillors or anyone who would like to utilize the infrastructure in the interest of the people. He said that 7 schools were closed down due to continued decrease in the number of enrollments. He requested regional councillors to utilize the buildings at the schools for any developmental projects. Furthermore, he encouraged councillors to follow the right procedures when they want to use these buildings, while inviting anyone that wishes to utilize the school infrastructure to go to their office for permission. The 7 schools were closed between 2012 and 2021 because less than 100 learners attended the schools. Sylvia Hashondali reporting for Primetime News.
Newly elected NANSO President Dorothea Nangolo, while briefing the media on the outcome of the organization's 18th National Students Congress, reaffirmed that NANSO remains steadfast in its stance against repaying student loans. Konjeni Ambinga filed this story.
On transforming NS5 loans into grants. NANSO's Resolution 16 boldly asserts that demanding students to repay their loan contradicts the interest or rather the constitutional principle of the right to education. In today's challenging economic climate, where graduates face significant hurdles in securing meaningful employment, this financial burden is unfair and unjust. Therefore, the new leadership of NANSO, as tasked by the National Students Congress, recommits itself to Resolution 16. We demand that the government and the ministry adopts our Resolution 16. We are clear, ladies and gentlemen, we will not pay back the loans. Let our natural resources pay for our education. It is an unfair burden on us as students who are already struggling to find employment that we have to carry the burden of student debt and student loans. On the issue of whether NANSO has failed to mobilize students and if there's a shift in our mandate, I'm going to answer this question very honestly. And I'm going to say that we need to be frank. Every wave of NANSO leaders has its generational mandate. The toy-toying that was done in 1984 cannot be done now. This is an era that requires for you to have negotiations prior. This is an era that requires for you to sit in a boardroom. And we need to understand, and it's very common now, where we have a protest and only 6 students show up. Did we interrogate why students don't show up? It's also a generational thing. Somebody born in 2006 does not understand the power of being on the streets. And it's not that we are failing. It's because the person born in 2006 understands the power of shutting the country down through social media. So that is the shift in eras. However, like I've mentioned, if we need to shut down Government Park, we'll shut down Government Park.
Stay tuned for your top roundup with the business segment thereafter. Welcome to the Primetime Biz segment, your premier source for all things business related. The Agricultural Bank of Namibia, or Agri Bank, has announced the rollout of a $104.6 million Namibian drought relief subsidy for farmers with farmland and livestock loan accounts. Here's more on this story compiled by Eba Kandovadu.
We do not really compare ourselves with the commercial banks because we have a different mandate as an institution, which is to really have a developmental impact. And so we are not profit driven in that sense. And we look at other measures to see whether there is a positive impact to society in terms of the benefits that we offer. So some of these things, because we had no recourse, say if you default or you decide not to pay this money, we had nothing to lay our hands on as a claim because some of them were almost collateral free, as we say. So those practices in the past led to accumulation of debt. And again, you can tell we have started becoming more stringent and more stringent over time.
In news from beyond our borders, a union representing tens of thousands of workers at Samsung Electronics in South Korea said earlier today it would extend a 3-day strike indefinitely in a bid to force management to negotiate. AFP brings us this insert.
The strike is the biggest labor action in the tech giant's history and steps up pressure on the chipmakers' management, who last week predicted a huge second quarter operating profit increase. The National Samsung Electronics Union, in a statement, declared an indefinite general strike from July 10 after learning that management has no willingness to talk. More than 5,000 members stopped working on Monday for what was meant to be a 3-day strike, part of a long-running battle over pay and benefits. The move follows a 1-day walkout in June, the first of such collective action at the company, which went decades without unionization. The union has more than 30,000 members, more than a fifth of the company's total workforce. Samsung told AFP on Wednesday that the strike will not affect production. Samsung Electronics is the world's largest memory chip maker and accounts for a significant chunk of global output of the high-end chips used in generative AI. The union has been locked in negotiations with management since January, but the two sides have failed to narrow differences. The union's demands, newly released on Wednesday, include a 5.6% pay raise for all members, transparent performance-based bonuses, compensation for financial losses incurred due to the strike, and a guaranteed day off on the union's founding day. Samsung Electronics managed to avoid having its employees unionize for almost 50 years, sometimes adopting ferocious tactics, according to critics, while rising to become the world's largest smartphone and semiconductor manufacturer. Konjeni Ambinga reporting for Primetime News.
It's now a look at what the weather has in store for us tomorrow in the weather report, followed by a roundup of the latest economic news. Welcome to Sport Planet, your hub for all things sports. England manager Gareth Southgate said the Three Lions are sensing their shot at history in tonight's Euro 2024 semi-final against a Netherlands side hitting their stride in Dortmund. Southgate's men are aiming to reach the final of a major tournament on foreign soil for the first time and take a step closer to ending a 58-year wait to win a major tournament. The winners will face Spain in Berlin on Sunday after they came from behind to beat France 2-1 on Tuesday.
You're now into that moment in the tournament where it's what's possible, what's achievable, rather than what might go wrong, and that's different for a player, for an athlete. So yeah, this is now the chance to make history, which we've enjoyed doing that. Chance to get to the first final, not held in England. First time England will have ever done that. So we're trying to break new ground. That's difficult and it's complicated, but the players have responded brilliantly.
And now the latest concerning English Premier League transfers. Dutch midfielder Donny van de Beek confirmed today his troubled 4-year spell at Manchester United has come to an end. Van de Beek has endured a dismissal time with United after joining from Ajax in 2020 and is reportedly set to join Spanish side Girona. The 27-year-old struggled to make an impact at Old Trafford following his £34 million move and was twice sent out on loan. He spent the second half of last season on loan at German club Eintracht Frankfurt and also had a temporary stint with Everton during the 2021-2022 campaign. Van de Beek made 62 appearances in all competitions for United, scoring just twice as he failed to build on the promising reputation he earned at Ajax. Stay tuned for your sports roundup. And this concludes your Wednesday's edition of Primetime News. Many thanks for tuning in. Do make time to join us tomorrow for another engaging edition. On behalf of myself, Mashimwe Masipa, and the dedicated crew behind the scenes, it's good night.